World Tonight on the Race 2021. With me, Timothy Sibasi. My guest in the studios is none other than the two gentlemen in the studio with me. On my left-hand side, he is the spokesperson of Uganda prisons. That is Comrade Frank BAINE. Thanks for being part of the show.
You're welcome.
And on my right hand, he's none other than the executive director of Justice Access Point, and that is the man himself, Mohammed Ndifuna. Welcome to the show.
Good evening.
Wow. Before you, ladies and gentlemen, is a controversial matter that I'm here with the prison spokesperson and a man from who has a background to do with human rights and a lawyer at the same time. The issue to do with the disfranchisement of the prisoners' right to vote. And with me here is a man who takes safe custody of the prisoners, Mr. Frank BAINE. Wow, Frank, we do understand that. How do you perceive at Uganda prisons the disfranchisement of the prisoners' right to vote? Do you treat it as a deterrent?
Well, if I may reply you very fast, it is not anywhere in the intentions, according to the mandate of Uganda Prison Service, to disenfranchise prisoners, because it is not us who make the laws. Our laws come from Parliament. If Parliament has not made anything about it, we cannot authorize ourselves to do what we have not been empowered to do. That is why even in the recent scenario where Justice of the High Court ruled that prisoners and people in the diaspora must participate in the coming elections. Well, the court order was there, and it is still there, and it is not that it has been rejected, but the organization responsible for conducting elections is the Uganda Electoral Commission. So the chair came up and said, for us who are set, the chair came and said, I have closed my registers, I cannot open them. My budget is concluded, I cannot go back to do that. Then, the accompanying laws, for example, Parliament ruled, even in the barracks, leave alone in the prison, their laws clearly meant the Parliament ruled there should not be campaigns, there should not be any politicking in the barracks.
Should be outside the barracks.
Should be outside the barracks. That was now done by Parliament. Now, how do you go against Parliament and do the reverse? So that's why,
at that point,
that's why the chairman, even appearing before the parliamentary committee, defended himself that, well, he knows it's an obligation he's supposed to carry out, but because of the prevailing circumstances, he postponed the prisoners' participation. Prisoners never postponed the participation. It is the chairman Electoral Commission saying he was not in position to conduct elections. I want to tell you,
Comrade BAINE, at that point,
yes,
you are part of government.
yes.
You come from the mother ministry, Ministry of Internal
But we have different roles.
Listen.
Yes.
Why did it have to take you long? Because always bills, proposed laws are generated by ministers, then taken to the Attorney General. And
No, by the way, no. Public
brought,
policy is not necessarily driven by ministries. For example, these were individual people who petitioned the court, and the court listened to their case and ruled. So the responsibility of our members of parliament and the different parliament is to look at the different bills. And that's why, for us, we are implementers of the law. We are not the originators of the law. And that's why there are many other things, because every parliament has a very big heap of bills, but they select those ones which they think are very important to them. They put them there. Those they think are not important, they shelve them.
But how have you been perceiving it? You as the custodians of this
You see,
how have you been perceiving that? You have people in the morning, you go.
I have this book. This is my Bible. It tells me what to do and not what to do. It's not about feelings. It's not about perception. It's about my function. If I read for you the functions of Uganda Prison Service according to this, elections is not part of them. And that's why, actually, you should, if you want, in this debate you want it to be better, there should be the spokesperson of Uganda.
There is a reason as why we do not want that person to be there. There is a reason why you do not want that person to be there.
Okay.
We wanted, you have you. But what do you have to talk about it? The man seems to be developing a cold feet.
No. It is very warm. But you are not going to make me to do things which I am not mandated to do.
We shall get there.
Yes.
Today is the International Human Rights Day. And as you are aware, we derive our inspiration from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
That's right.
Now, Article 21 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, this is spoke on the right of an individual to participate in government. Now, our own constitution, Article 59, which became the basis for the ruling that my colleague alluded to, is an important provision to provide guidance to all stakeholders. Now, having said that, we are all aware that the prisoners have enjoyed their right to vote. And of course, this challenge is not just in Uganda, it is in other countries as well. But there are also very interesting developments in many countries where actually this problem has been remedied. Cases can be cited in Ghana, for example.
Ghana, Kenya, Botswana, South Africa.
Yes, they are instructive inspirations and guidance that Uganda can draw from. And I know that we've been raising this issue again and again. So for anybody to say they are taken by surprise, they didn't know about this and they have to wait for a ruling. You know, that's part of the problem we have in this country. That reform, especially on civil and political matters, is guided by strategic litigation rather than actually well-guided, well-thought-out law reform. The state doesn't have to be pushed and dragged to court.
And this is why I want to bring it back to my colleague that that parliament that you see, those are not technocrats. You technocrats, you are the engine. You are the engine. You are supposed to guide.
Who votes them? You see, there is what they call mandate.
So you should not hide into that book.
You know what they call mandate? You know what they call mandate? The word mandate is very specific. But he brought it so well. By the way, I remember I complained when we were registering, people were getting the national identity cards. Do you know those people who are in the prisons were not considered because the national, the NIRA thought prisons was not an area to go. Yet these were Ugandans. So sometimes when as institutions, especially as government, follow a certain procedure, that's how it does. Of course, the challenge, you will tell you, is the land friend, that we most of the things we are doing, we inherited them from the British. Because the British prisoners don't vote. But the other jurisdictions, prisoners can vote. So that's why over time we keep on reviewing, and I think eventually we shall reach there. You will go to other countries, you will find prisoners having conjugal rights. You will come here, you will find, I will tell you, we can't conduct conjugal rights. Why? Because the framers of the law did not put the provision.
What's your relationship with the Kenyan prison services?
Well, of course, we are part of the East African community. Two, incidentally, most of the rehabilitation program, they did benchmarking from Uganda, and with them, because their funding was higher, they implemented even very many things we had not started implementing.
So when you get to hear as BAINE that your colleagues the other end, your clients the other end, are allowed to participate in an election, they exercise their right to vote, what runs in your mind here back home?
Let me tell you, what runs me home is to let the relevant people do their thing.
No, you cannot,
for example, now,
you cannot keep on hiding behind the Prison Act.
No.
At the end of the day, you are the technocrats.
Between me and you right now, if the chairman of the Electoral Commission announced and said prisons, in the next 1 week, I am going to do registration and everything I'm supposed to do to prepare prisoners for voting, I can assure you the gates of the prison will be what? Open. So,
but can I get your personal perspective?
As long as I am putting on this uniform, don't ask me my personal, ask me my institutional position.
Okay, your institutional position. When you have those inmates
yes,
behind bars,
yes,
and they are not allowed to exercise their right to vote, how do you look at that as an institution? Is it a punishment? Do you look at it as a punishment?
Well, it may not necessarily be a punishment, but it could be one of the rights they saw that they could be foregone. Because you see, being in a prison is not being in a hotel. You are going there for a purpose. And a prison must restrict you in a certain way that you really feel there are some things you are missing, that when you are out, you don't want to come back.
That's where sometimes we have issues with our colleagues elsewhere. What is detractable or derogatable or limitable as per our constitution is clear. Under what circumstances can you limit rights, and what can you limit? So the fact that a person is a prisoner does not make him less human. No. He's entitled to his human rights. And some of the rights are not absolute, and that's why the Constitution also clearly marks out what is limitable. Now, our challenge is that some of the provisions in lesser laws do not measure up to the test laid down by the Constitution, and that's basically why citizens have to go to court
because I
challenge them.
I find BAINE's argument like saying that somebody committing a criminal offense or an offense is a personal decision, and therefore is a breach of social contract with society, and in that matter, it's upon him, he has already decided to be removed from society to go and be kept somewhere.
But remember,
so he has no right to participate.
That in some cases, actually, even a final ruling has not been made on some of these prisoners. And our constitution does not regard them criminals.
No, if a person in Uganda, you have to be proven guilty before you. Everybody is innocent that is proven guilty. But it's like, you see, the law says if court sends you to prison as a remand, even if you have a big mansion than this, you will not sleep in your house. It's your right to sleep in your house. But the regulations, the standing orders prescribe what should happen to a prison. And that's why I am telling you that whatever we are following are the laws laid down, right from the Constitution, the Prisons Act, the prison standing orders, the regulations, all these, even the statutory instruments. If you find something is not featuring there, you are going to have a problem if you try to act outside that confine of your guidance.
But I find BAINE, you're advancing an argument that defeats the gist of what you're trying to drive on. If you say that the law is clear, that you are proven guilty until
No, my
you know,
law here
I
says,
you
I am
understand
allowed
what
to keep
you're
a person
talking about.
when one of the functions of the prison.
You are presumed to be innocent until you are proven
innocent, but what is the functions?
guilty.
The functions of the service are here.
No, we shall get. I'll give you time.
And it does not.
I'll give you time.
Organize elections for prisoners. It's not.
I'll give you time to talk about that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you cannot say that you are presumed innocent until you are proven guilty.
That is if you are remanded.
Yes. Yeah. But you know very well that somebody on trial is not yet guilty until proven guilty. Then why should he be denied his right to vote? Because he's not yet guilty.
He's not guilty, but he's in a restricted place, and in the restricted place, they have not said election should take place.
I have issues with that.
First of all, I want to tell you, did you hear it at any one moment that these ones who are registering, electoral commission agents who are registering for voting, came to the prisons and we chased them?
Do you find an ambiguity with that?
I am not a lawyer. I don't.
Do you have any problem with that?
The meaning of ambiguity.
I think part of the challenge
yes
is in our case, in our country, is that we have not undertaken comprehensive law reforms. There have been proposals.
Correct.
And of course, we have a law reform commission. It should receive proposals from the different stakeholders, come up with the comprehensive reform proposals that then are enacted into laws. So our challenge is that because this is not happening and citizens cannot allow an injustice to exist, they will challenge some of those laws that exist on the books. Now, when that happens, it can create a situation that is unplanned for, but uncalled for, because government should have foreseen this and actually planned in advance. But a case in point.
But where do you find the disconnect?
Yes.
That you have a man like BAINE there in prison services. He knows very well that one is innocent until proven guilty, and here they're having people who are on trial. They are not yet guilty, but they are denied the right
the way places where they
to vote, and they do not want to speak about it.
Even the convicts vote.
Where is the disconnect?
Vote, everybody votes. See, every country is unique. It's like we have been advocating for the abolition of the death penalty, but because the public, through their members of parliament, have insisted it remains on the law books, we still conduct hanging. If the president signed, tomorrow you'll hear us doing the business. We don't subscribe to it, but it is on the law books, and you can't change it. Until you have changed it, that's when you will change the modus operandi.
Yeah, I think it's a big challenge we have. We allow ourselves to go into a panic mode in many things. I was referring a while ago when we were having a conversation that the case of the Public Order Management Act, when we had the discussion with our colleagues in government, we were telling them the problems that were in the bill then. We came up with the 12 reasons why actually the Public Order Management Bill should not be passed in the form it was. They went ahead and did it, and it was challenged. It created a situation that we have had to deal with as a nation when the Public Order Act was nullified in the Constitutional Court. In the same way, again, this ruling has been made. It has created a situation that probably is uncalled for, with the proper proactive engagement of the different stakeholders and planning. This should have been addressed, because elections have not dropped from heaven as an accident. We have known that they were coming and they have arrived. So we can't simply say we have been taken unawares, but not planning in advance.
So now, let me get back to Mr. BAINE. do you find a problem? You know, we have two sets of prisoners, a service prisoner and a civil prisoner.
The criminal
No,
section of prisoners, those are what we call convicts and remand.
Yeah.
Then the civil prisoners, those are judgment debtors.
No, a service prisoner, I understand where you're headed. A service prisoner are those charged under the court martial. And as the law stands, we understand that those charged under the court martial as service prisoners, they have the right.
I am hearing that word the first time in my life.
Somebody charged under a court martial is a service prisoner, and somebody charged under our civil courts, that is a civil prisoner. Those are the people that you are in charge of. But you find those under the court martial, somebody either charged to be kept at the officer's mess has the right to vote.
Well,
has the right to vote.
me,
But when he's transferred from an officer's mess or wherever to a civil prison like Ruzira, he loses his right to vote.
Bwana Sebasa, I don't want to go into the army things, but I don't know how this person, do they escort them from those you want to tell me the army escorts their suspects and convicts to the polling center?
For me,
I don't know. But I don't want to go there. I am looking at a person. I want to tell you, I have three categories of prisoners. I have those charged of criminal cases, whether it is from the military court or the civil court. Those are what we call those who have committed either felonies or misdemeanors. Those are called, they're on the criminal section. The civil prisoners are those who are, I have eaten your money and you have taken me to court and I'm a judgment debtor. Those are the categories
those from the military section that are brought to your section. They lose their right to vote.
Our constitution is very clear. Every citizen, 18 years and above, has a right to vote. Full stop. It doesn't make any of those other categorizations that you are alluding to. For practical reasons, because you are in prison, because you've lost some of your rights as a consequence of a case that you are charged with. So you've lost liberty. Yes? Some liberty. Now, what we should be talking about, what are the practical measures that can be put in place to enable you in those situations where you have had your liberty to some extent limited, so that you can enjoy your right to vote? That's what we should be talking about.
Absolutely.
Not that you should not vote.
First of all, one of the principles that you should be looking at, you know, other countries, they have what they call voting by proxy. Yes. That's why somebody in Uganda sends his vote to USA and it reaches, or it goes to Kigali. But in the laws of electoral laws in Uganda, we don't have anything called voting by proxy. Yeah. And that's one of the things which were waiting to see how the Electoral Commission would conduct. That me, from Kabari, but who is being imprisoned in upper prison, and I am supposed to vote. Voting the president wouldn't be the big problem because everywhere it is the same list. But when I'm in upper, do I vote the leaders of Nakawa or I vote the leaders of where I come from in Kabari? And if I'm going to vote my MP from Kabari, how am I supposed to do it without a provision of voting by proxy?
It's still a long way to get to that.
I mean, the other agencies definitely ought to work very closely with the prison service. Yes. For example, if the Law Reform Commission is coming up with the areas of potential reform, that would include prisoners voting, they will definitely consult widely the prison service in terms of its practicality.
But where I have
even
a
the
problem-
legislators, even the legislators will do the same. Even the electoral commission will do the same. For example, if we are talking about voter education and other related empowerments that is crucial to enable a prisoner to participate in an electoral process, the electoral commission has to work very closely with the
Because you look at this scenario, recently we had riots because members of a particular party were not happy with the way things were going. Supposing that happens in a prison, yet for us, anything that related to violence, that is either a mutiny or it is it goes beyond a demonstration. Actually, it's not a demonstration.
What I would be curious about, especially now that our colleague is here, is prisoners.
Yeah.
What do you tell them about their rights?
Their rights.
And do you tell them that they have a right to vote?
Oh, no, among the rights to vote, that one is we don't tell.
Why not? The
Why?
Constitution says so.
We have actually from independence, even in the constitutions that have lived here in Uganda, the issue of prisoners voting rights have never been.
But the
addressed.
Constitution says every citizen,
Except,
every citizen.
of course, if there are other restrictions. That's why I am telling you that for us, as prisoners, would be very happy to let prisoners vote.
Would it be fair then to say you are selectively applying the law?
No, we are not selectively applying it. We are applying it as we are given. We are implementing
No, but
the law as
you are given
No.
right from the Constitution,
Yes.
If
You see, the Constitution gives,
which is
but
the parent law.
it is a parent law,
The supreme law.
but it cascades down
Yes,
up to the standing
and
orders, up to the
the
regulation.
lower laws, to the extent of inconsistency, would be null and void.
Well,
if they contradict
fortunately,
the
that's why we
Constitution.
have interpreting bodies of the laws. You see,
Yeah.
If you get a gatekeeper and you give him a padlock and you say every 6 o'clock I want this padlock locked and every 6 o'clock in the evening I want this padlock opened, that's what the storekeeper does.
Will do.
So when you start asking him who manufactured the padlock, why should you make it face in front, not behind, you are asking too much. Like I am telling
But
you.
how often do you sit with your bosses and you discuss these issues?
No, we are you see, what is our mandate?
Do not hide into mandate.
No.
Yeah?
What is our mandate? What is our function? Any other underlying factors are presented by those who are concerned. That's why I'm telling you that I would have loved to hear the spokesperson for electoral commission. Why, when they are planning elections, they don't plan for prisoners?
And you who are keeping them, do you normally have interfaces with the electoral
that is-
commission to discuss?
You see, my
Because these issues-
rules do not include taking prisoners for voting. But I can comply.
But there was a court ruling that
For
really
example,
gives you
let me tell you,
an open platform
I
to
keep,
seek for an
we
interface
keep prisoners.
with the
But
electoral
every
commission
prisoner
over
you keep
over
has a
matter.
warrant. When you go to court, the magistrate or the judge says, I want this person in court on this specific day. When you don't take the prisoner, you explain why you have not done it. If, like for example, when they say somebody has been committed to the High Court and he must wait for the next convenient session, you can never see a prison's officer carry a prisoner to court because court has not said, bring this person. The session is not yet convenient to court. So, when you are implementing, you have to be very careful to want to be creative. You want to say, we must be creative in implementing. The law is the law. It has to be implemented as it is written. And that's why when the Justice Mugamba said, I want these people to vote, I want people in the diaspora to vote, you are asking only for prisoners. Why are you also asking him?
If you looked at the infrastructural capacity of the prisons that we have in this country,
Yes.
and the realities of the lives of the prisoners, the way you know